think about you all the time, Nikki. And I try not to.
Wait, what the fuck?
Obsession isn't about a monster hiding in the shadows. It's about something much more familiar. The nice guy who believes his feelings should matter more than a woman's boundaries. Through Bear, the film turns a classic rom-com fantasy into horror, asking what happens when the story stops rewarding persistence and starts showing us how it feels from the woman's side. Because Bear doesn't see himself as dangerous. He sees himself as devoted, and that's exactly what makes him so unsettling. That familiarity isn't an accident. It's the whole rulebook Bear was raised on. We've been trained to read persistence as devotion. The guy who won't take no for an answer, who shows up anyway, who just knows they're meant to be. It's supposed to be romantic. It's supposed to prove he means it. Except somewhere along the way, women started noticing the pattern from the other side of it. The guy at the bar who won't stop talking to you. The friend who confesses his feelings and then punishes you for not returning them. The ex who calls it fighting for you when it's actually just refusing to leave. Obsession takes that rulebook and shows what happens when someone actually gets to act on it without consequence. A cat's death. A bar that grants one wish. A spell that overrides a woman's mind so completely that love isn't a choice anymore. It's a setting.
Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the fucking world.
Bear gets exactly what the nice guy trope has always promised him, a woman who wants him back. The movie's whole trick is making us watch what that actually looks like from the inside. Bear is the sweet, sensitive best friend type, hopelessly in love with Nikki, who sees him as nothing more than a friend. When she asks him directly if he has feelings for her, he lies.
I think we're good friends.
Devastated, he makes a wish on a mysterious bar that Nikki will love him more than anyone else in the world. The wish works, but the Nikki who now loves him isn't really her, and the real Nikki is trapped somewhere inside, screaming to get out. That lie is the first move in the pattern, so it's where the pattern has to start unraveling too. Bear had one honest moment available to him, and he flinched. When Nikki asks him point blank if he likes her, he denies it. Not because he's shy, because honesty carries risk, and risk means she might say no. This is the first tell. Bear's niceness was never really about her comfort. It was about protecting himself from rejection while still getting credit for being a good guy. A man who won't risk honesty for a chance will always look for a shortcut instead. That's what the wish actually is. Guys like Bear tend to believe kindness is currency. Enough compliments, enough patience, enough showing up, and eventually a relationship is supposed to fall out the other end like change from a machine. When that math doesn't check out, when Nikki says friend and means it, Bear doesn't update the theory. He just finds a shortcut around it. The wish isn't a leap of faith. It's a refund request. A transaction like that only works as long as no one questions the receipt. Someone does. Mid-kiss, the real Nikki flashes back into her own body just long enough to scream in horror at what's happening to her. It's the one moment the film gives Bear undeniable proof, and it's the moment that matters most because of what he does with it. He doesn't stop. He manages his own guilt quietly instead, sleeping on the floor rather than the bed, telling his friend Ian half the story instead of all of it. He wants absolution without confession. He wants to feel like the good guy without doing the one thing that would actually make him one. That refusal to confess is what makes the film's next scene the whole argument in a single line. The real Nikki, trapped and desperate, begs Bear to kill her rather than let this continue.
Just kill me.
And Bear's response is to make it about his own hurt feelings. What's so bad about being with me?
What would be so bad? What's so bad about being with me?
It's worth sitting with how familiar that question is. Substitute being with me for talking to me, giving me a chance, being nice to me. And you've got the exact sentence structure of 1,000 real conversations women have had with men who couldn't accept no as a complete answer. There's a reason women learn early to soften rejection, to cushion it, to over-explain, and it isn't always politeness. Sometimes it's damage control, a quiet calculation about which version of no is least likely to set someone off. Bear is the reason that calculation exists. He isn't asking his question because he wants to understand. He's asking because he genuinely cannot conceive of himself as the problem. And that, more than the wish, more than the body horror, is the actual monster of the movie. A man so committed to his own goodness that a woman's literal agony reads to him as an inconvenience to his feelings. A monster that self-assured is hard to hate cleanly though, and the film knows it. Some viewers will say Bear is sympathetic. He's grieving. He's lonely. He never wanted anyone to get hurt. Honestly, that pain is real. Loneliness is is real. Rejection does hurt. Feeling invisible is a legitimate thing to feel, and the film doesn't deny Bear any of that. It gives him just enough vulnerability that early audiences might root for him. That's not a flaw. It's the point. The film wants the sympathy to land first, so you feel it curdle in real time. The exact moment a wounded man stops being someone in pain and becomes someone causing it. That gap between hurting and making someone else responsible for the hurt is where the whole story actually lives. That gap is also where obsession stops being about one guy with a magic wish and starts being about a pattern most women could name before the movie ever asked them to. Bear never gets a real reckoning, not because the film denies him the chance, but because he spends the entire runtime refusing to take it. Bear chooses the comfort of believing he's a good person over the difficult work of becoming one, because that's the real difference between niceness and goodness. Is goodness about protecting the image you've built of yourself, or is it about confronting the harm you're capable of and choosing differently anyway? If you'd rather die believing you're the good guy than live having earned that title, were you ever truly good in the first place? This is Ladies First, watching women in movies. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.